Hey guys, this is the Chapter 11 quiz review. I'm going to try to make this as easy and simple as I can. First thing we're going to do is find the mean, median, mode, range, and standard deviation of a data set. We're going to use our calculator to do that. And so I'm going to press the Stat button. I'm going to edit the data, and I'm going to put this data set in. It starts with an 8, 3, an 18, 9, 5, 6, 4, 4, 7, 4, 3, and 2. And so the first thing I want to do is go ahead and run the stat again and go over to calc, and I'm going to run one variable statistics, which is just the top line there. As I hit calculate, these numbers come up. So my mean, I'm going to have to kind of jump back and forth. My mean was 6.08. My median, I'll get that in a second. The mode, I can tell by just looking at the list, the most common number, 4 shows up 3 times. I don't see anybody else show up 3 times, so the mode would be 4. The range is the big number minus the little number. That's 18 minus 2. That'd be a range of 16. And my standard deviation should be on this first page here, 4.13. 4.13. Now I want to find the median. That's just down a little bit. Median would be 4.5. Okay, oops, 4.5. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing by removing the outlier. The outlier in this problem set would be 18. It's the one that doesn't seem to fit with the data. So I'm going to press Stat again. I'm going to choose to edit. Go down to the number 18 and delete that entry, and then Stat, over to calc, one variable statistics, and calculate. I get a mean of 5 and a standard deviation of 2.13. So mean is 5, standard deviation is 2.13. That's a much smaller standard deviation. The range is now, big number would be 9 minus 2 is 7. The median, I'll check again, and the mode is still 4. Nothing changed there. So when I look, I calculate one more time, the median is 4. You could just put them in order if you want and do it by hand. That's not a big deal. I mean, it's just a matter of how much time you want to take. We're looking at this table here that tells us about the normal distribution, and each one of these being a certain standard deviations over. So this mark here means I'm over exactly 1 standard deviation. That's what the sigma's for. This next mark would be 2 standard deviations. So I want to know the probability of fitting between the average minus 2 standard deviations. So here's average, average minus 1, average minus 2 standard deviations. So I want to be between that and the average plus 3 standard deviations, which would be the third line over this way. So I want to know what's the probability of landing somewhere in this region. Well, all I have to do is add up these different percentages, these probabilities. So 34 and 34 is 68. This 13.5 and this 13.5 is 27. So 27, 68. That would be 95%. But then I also have one of these 2.35s. So 2.35, I add that up and I get 97.35% probability of landing between those two spots. That's just adding those up. And you use your calculator to do that if you want. Now we're going to work on our data sets, and I am going to have to use the standard normal table that you guys got in class. If you don't quite know how to read it, I'll try to explain it, but this is really more of a hands-on question, and I guess I could send a picture of it up here and we could look at that. But so maybe I'll insert a picture at the bottom of this, but you're still going to have to know how to read it. So first thing is we've got to find the z-score for our data set. So it's for a data set with a mean of 14. That's this guy right there. So it's, and a standard deviation of 2.8. 2.8 would be my denominator. I'm minusing 14. And what is the probability that a point will be less than 16? Okay, so first off, let's just use the 16. We're going to have to mess with the less than here thing in just a minute. But if we take the 16 minus 14, of course we know that's 2. We divide that by our standard deviation of 2.8. We get a z-score of, this is important, 0.71. Okay? That's not the probability. But what that tells me is where on the normal table to find that value. It's going to be like right here somewhere. And on the normal table, it'll tell me what percentage lies to the left. Okay, so this is really important. I have to ask if less than means to the left. It does. So when I pull out my little table here, I make sure I'm on the positive side of the sheet. Okay, and then I'm going to look for 0.7 on this left column. Then because it's 0.71, I'm going to slide over until I'm underneath the row that says 0.01. And where those two sections, where those two lines meet in this problem, 0.71 is 0.7611. So 0.7611, which would be 76.11% probability that we're going to have a point less than 16. Well, number 5 does the exact same thing, except I'm going to give you 2 points, and I want to be between two specific numbers, or in this case, okay, my mean is 63. I have a test value of 64 and a test value of 61, and I want to be above 64 or below 61. I'm going to have to answer each of these independently because they're not connected. If they were in the middle, I would do it a little differently. And again, those are questions you can ask in class, or it should have been in the homework if you went through that. But I need to know the z-score for each of these. Okay, so I'm going to take my 64 minus 63 over 2.4, and I'm going to take 61 minus 63 over 2.4. Grab our calculator and find those two values. Okay, the first one would be 1 divided by 2.4, which is 0.416. Repeating, let's go 0.42. 0.42, so that's 0.42. And the other one is a negative 2, so 61 minus 63 divided by 2.4 is negative 0.83. Now these are important, okay? So first off, we have to understand when we go to the normal table, everything is to the left, okay? So let's just look at this 61 first, okay? When I look at the z table, I'm looking at a negative, right? This is the negative 0.83. So I go to the negative side, 0.8, and I slide over to 3, I should get 0.2033. 0.2033, or a 20.33% chance that I'm on the left of 61, which is what I want. But I also want to include things that are on the right of 64. So if I go to 64, okay, let's realize that the z-score of 0.42 is going to read to the left as well. And so if I go to the positive side, 0.4, and go to 0.42, I get 0.6628, or 66.28%. But that's the probability of being under that value. I want to be over it. To find the over, I'm going to take 1 minus that number, and it will take me to the right instead of the left. Basically, I'm moving from 100%. And so if I take my calculator, oops, wrong thing. Take my calculator, and I do 1 minus 0.6628, gives me a 33.72% chance that it's on the right, or greater than 64. If I add the 0.2033, which is the stuff on the left, I want both. Right? So I'm saying this or that. I want the total probability. The total probability comes out to 54.05. You're going to possibly have some questions on reading the table correctly, things that you just need to clear up with me. If you aren't doing the homework, it's going to take time visiting with me and going through that. All right, good luck, guys, and I will see you in class.